Hey, what's up, everyone, and welcome back to Cinematic Reviews presented by Quantum Podcasts. As always, I'll be your host, Chris, and this is a show about all things movies and TV. Well, we are going to have our first triple feature new release episode today. We're going to universe hop since there's so many different summer blockbusters out right now and coming out. It just works better, and plus, I thought it'd be kind of fun to do a triple feature universe hopping. So we'll dive into the Scary Movie franchise, Toy Story franchise, and then we'll jump into Masters of the Universe. Today is Scary Story in the Universe. It's going to be a fun episode hopping around all these different franchises and giving my review on all these new summer blockbusters coming out. But before we dive into all that, a couple of reminders at the top of the episode. You can watch the show every week at youtube.com/thecinematicreviews. You can also listen to the audio version on whichever podcast network you deem worthy. We're around the world, so just type in Cinematic Reviews. You can find the show on there. Also, support the show on all the social media pages, Facebook, X, Instagram, TikTok. We're all over the place. Post all the news, graphics from every episode, different rankings, all sorts of stuff on there. So go ahead and check that out. Speaking of rankings, you can also set up a profile on the official website of the podcast, cinematic-reviews.com, where you can rank the Scary Movie franchise or the Toy Story franchise like we are going to do on the show. You can also rate the movies with that awesome popcorn rating that I do on the show as well. You can look at different artworks from all the episodes. You can watch the episodes, watch the shorts, news updates. There's so much stuff to do on the website. Test your knowledge with the trivia games on there. There's so much more and so much coming to the website to go. So go and set up a profile on there and have some fun. Well, with that, let's head into our first universe, the Scary Movie universe, where we'll be talking about Scary Movie 6.
Sink into the chair. I'm high as fuck. Me too, cuz. Me three, my nigga.
Ghostface is still killing folks.
You know what they say about the crazy ones? They got the best.
You suck. Boo your ass.
Scary Movie. Only in theater.
So Scary Movie 6, or as they are calling it, Scary Movie, as kind of a fun dag at Scream. You remember how Scream 5 was just called Scream as kind of a reboot remake of the first movie? Well, they did the same thing here with Scary Movie. This is a reboot remake of the first film, which was really based off of the 1996 Scream movie. Well, this is going to be based off of this new era of Scream. 5, 6, and 7 pops up in this movie. So it was a really fun time. It came out on June 5th, 2026. Had a budget of about $30 million and has already grossed a whopping $183 million. So a very profitable movie for the Wayans brothers, who have been kind of in the shadows recently. This is their newest film that they brought out here. It stars Marlon Wayans, Sean Wayans, Anna Faris, Regina Hall. A lot of the original cast is back with some newcomers like Kenan Thompson, Tiana Taylor, Carmen Electra is back, Chris Elliott is back, Damon Wayans Jr. shows up in here. There's so many different new and old characters from the franchise. It's so much fun. I had a blast watching this. It's not the greatest movie in the world, of course. I mean, it's a parody for horror movies, but it's a really fun time. I was looking forward to this. I think comedy really needed this movie to come out because the Wayans brothers said it best. They're going to offend everybody. Nobody's going to be left out, and that's true. They hit every demographic pretty much in here, whether you're a boomer, Gen Z, Republican, Democrat, gay, bisexual, straight. They had jokes for everybody in here, and I think that's the best way to do it in comedy. Make everybody inclusive on the joke. You know, don't just hyper target a single demographic. Well, unfortunately, that's not how certain demographics saw this. If you haven't seen on social media, the Gen Zs really hate this movie, probably because the Wayans really dig into their persona, so to speak. But that's just kind of what their approach was for this franchise. But it's also honoring all the new horror movies like Get Out, Hard Eyes, but also paying homage to the older horror movies like Scream, like Chucky, like Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street. It's kind of just includes every generation, and I think that's the best way to approach a comedy, is just to make everybody feel inclusive on the joke, have a joke for everybody, and just have a good time. Brief synopsis of the movie. Again, it is a parody, so it's basically ripping off of the storyline of a previous movie. This one, like I said, centers around the Scream franchise once again. Sydney, from the original Scary Movie, her daughters, I should say, one of her daughters' name is Tuesday, which is obviously a ripoff of Wednesday. They are being chased by Ghostface once again, so they're trying to find out who the killer is. They run into other different things, like Ghostface does the sink into the chair thing from Get Out. Anna Faris does John Wick to defeat the Ghostfaces. There's other films like Smile and things of that nature. Sinners was in here. Weapons was in here. Like, it just includes so many other different storylines built on top of it, on this grand storyline of Ghostface is back and he is killing people. So it's that simple. It's basically Scream 5, 6, and 7 is the storyline of this Scary Movie. Like previously in the first Scary Movie, the very first Scream was the storyline for that movie. The second one was kind of a haunted house theme. The third one was kind of like the War of the Worlds like theme. Scary Movie... No, that was Scary Movie 4. Scary Movie 3 was... I think that was the Village one. And then Scary Movie 5 was kind of the Paranormal Activity haunted house again that they did. If I remember right. I haven't seen those movies in a while. We will rank those at the end, though. Going through the cast real quick. Like I said, Shorty, played by Marlon Wayans, is back. You probably remember Shorty from the first two movies. Ray, who was also in the first two movies, played by his brother Sean Wayans. Sydney returns as Anna Faris. She was in the first three, I believe. Brenda, played again by Regina Hall. She was in two of the previous films. I think she was in the third one too, actually. Ghostface / Doofy, Dave Sheridan is playing double duty on this one. We're going to talk quite a bit about Ghostface and Doofy in another category today. But I'm so glad they brought Officer Doofy back. And I know it's kind of a plot hole because at the end of the Scary Movie, it was revealed that he was the killer. But now they've kind of just ripped half that character and plugged him into this one. So he is the Dewey character from the Scream franchise, if you're not familiar. Shorthand returns, played by Chris Elliott. He was the butler with the tiny little strong hand in Scary Movie 2. It was good to see him back. He plays, in this movie, the Nicolas Cage character from Longlegs. And then Tuesday, played by Savannah Lee Nassif. Probably butchered that last name. Sorry, Savannah. But she's obviously a ripoff of Wednesday, which was really fun. So this whole parody movie phase, if you didn't grow up in the early 2000s like I did, they were popping up like weeds. Like, you had all five of the Scary Movies, of course, but then you had other ones like Superhero Movie with Drake Bell, which was basically a ripoff of Sam Raimi's Spider-Man. You have Disaster Movie, which it says so in the title. They just ripped off of a bunch of disaster movies. Like Twisters and Indiana Jones and things like that. And then you had Epic Movie, which was a weird one, but that one's probably the one I've watched the most. That one was a ripoff of Narnia, but it also had movies like Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, Superman. I can't even think of all. Pirates of the Caribbean, Jack Swallows, if you remember that song at the end part of the movie where he's singing on the tour ship. And then Not Another Teen Movie, which obviously was a ripoff of She's All That and all the other teen movies at the time. So this big parody phase kind of just disappeared, though, I think, after probably Scary Movie 5, because that movie is pretty god-awful. Not to step on rankings too much, but I think that one is probably going to be the worst one out of all these. But Disaster Movie, I think, was really the nail was the last nail in the coffin on these parodies, and then they kind of just disappeared until now in 2026 with Scary Movie 6. So if you didn't grow up in the parody movie phase, you're kind of missing out, because this was like, it felt like one every year or every 2 years, and it's like, oh, I wonder which movie they're going to parody this time, or I hope they parody that one in a Scary Movie or some other movie that they think of. So I think with Scary Movie 6, though, maybe we kind of reboot the parody phase. Maybe we get another epic movie or another superhero movie. Superhero movie would make sense, because with Marvel and DC going on right now, I mean, the blockbuster box office is like half superheroes. You know, you have Supergirl, Superman, you have Spider-Man, Batman, all that Marvel stuff, all the DC stuff. But then you had other kind of superhero movies like Masters of the Universe, which we'll talk about, which a lot of people are just labeling that as a superhero movie, which it kind of is. But maybe this does reboot the parody phase if this Scary Movie does make a whole bunch of money, which looks like it is on track to do, you know, off of only $30 million to make this movie, and it's already 180. I could see this maybe rebooting the parody franchise. We could get another genre back in Hollywood. So that would be really, really awesome. Okay, on to the categories. So we're going to do the same categories that we do on every new release. Potential iconic scenes, favorite quotes, fun facts. But this time for Scary Movie, I thought we'd do a little something different. This is potential iconic bits. You know, comedy bits that people will be talking about, or when they think about the title Scary Movie. So 3 nominations here. Sydney fighting the ghost faces in John Wick style. That was a really fun scene at the end where she goes in with, she's got the black hair, she's got the black suit, she's doing all the reload tactics that Keanu Reeves does in John Wick. When she runs out of bullets, she ends up grabbing a couple of dildos and beating the shit out of Ghostface with those. So that was a really fun scene. We have Shorty sinking into the chair, like in Get Out with Daniel Kaluuya, getting sinking into the chair and going into the like that TV universe. They basically copy and pasted that in here with Ghostface being the one to stir the little teacup and telling him to sink into the chair. That was a really fun one. And then Shorty just freaking out, and then he ends up having that musical, K-pop Demon Hunter ripoff musical within that kind of weird space dream. And then Doofy getting killed by Ghostface, which is obviously a ripoff of Scream 5, where Officer Dewey gets killed. But this time they did something pretty funny. If you remember in Scream 5, you know, Dewey gets the 2 blades in the back and the stomach, and they basically rip upward. Well, Ghostface decided to shove one of the knives up Doofy's ass, and that's how they do it. And so instead of the back, it's up his ass and in the front. So I thought that was pretty fun. But for me, I think the most potential iconic bit is probably going to be Shorty sinking into the chair. I mean, it's in all the trailers. Get Out was such a huge movie when that one came out from Jordan Peele. So I think Shorty sinking into the chair is going to be the most iconic bit from this movie. A few favorite quotes here. This one from Jack. Hey there, we heard tale of a Halloween party. We're here to drink, play bad music, and do some half-gay shit. And then Ray comes in and goes, why just half-gay? You know, that one was in the trailer, but that one's a really fun one. And then a couple here from Shorty. Run, bitch, run, like he does in the Scary Movie, the first one. And then We Back, as he opens up the trailer. So there's a couple of really fun, iconic favorite quotes there. A few fun facts here, and then we'll get into the rankings for Scary Movie. Marlon Wayans lost 25 pounds in preparation to reprise his role as Shorty. There are 11 members of the Wayans family credited in the cast. And then at 96 minutes, this is the longest installment in the franchise, surpassing Scary Movie, the first one, at 88 minutes. So this is the longest Scary Movie. And it didn't feel long, though. Like, this went by pretty quick, probably because I actually enjoyed it. So when you enjoy a movie, it tends to go quicker. But I would definitely see, we could be getting, you know, Scary Movie 7, Scary Movie 8, Scary Movie 9. I mean, if this makes a whole bunch of movie, this could be the next, like I said, phase of the parody movie genre. All right, let's get into the rankings. We're going to rank the Scary Movie franchise to start things off here. So let me pull that up on the website. As a reminder, on the website, you too can rank the Scary Movie franchise once you set up a profile and go into the rankings page on cinematic-reviews.com. So I'm going to start from the bottom and work my way up like we always do here. So at number 6, Scary Movie 5. Like I said, probably one of the worst ones. of the parody genre. Scary Movie 4 comes in at number 5. They totally dig at these two movies in this current Scary Movie, which is fun because everybody freaking hated it. Number 4, Scary Movie 3. Number 3 is Scary Movie 2026. So this is where I put this new one at, is at number 3. And then at number 2, the first Scary Movie, and at number 1, Scary Movie 2. Scary Movie 2 is like just iconic. There's so many fun quotes and bits in there. But the first movie is really interesting because a lot of people, it was so copy-paste, the first Scream, that a lot of people mix up some of those screens and scenes and characters from the two. I know I do at times. So I have to remember that, no, Nev Campbell played Sydney, not Anna Faris. So they did a really good job at recreating the first Scream movie. But that is the rankings for the Scary Movie franchise: Scary Movie 2, Scary Movie 1, Scary Movie 6, Scary Movie 3, Scary Movie 4, and Scary Movie 5. All right, Best in Show. This was tough. We have 3 really strong nominees here. Dave Sheridan as Ghostface, Marlon Wayans as Shorty, and then Dave Sheridan playing double duty as Officer Doofy. This was actually between Ghostface and Shorty. Officer Doofy is right behind the two, but I think Ghostface and Shorty were the best parts of this movie. But the person that stole the show, I think, is Marlon Wayans as Shorty. He was just fantastic. You know, he comes in and he's still in high school after all these years. He has his YouTube channel. He's got the great scene from Get Out. Marlon Wayans totally outdid himself as Shorty in this one. This is my favorite role of his. This is my favorite version of Shorty. And he is our winner for Best in Show for Scary Movie 6. And then the popcorn rating for Scary Movie 6 is 3 popcorns. Like I said, this is a really fun movie to watch. Doesn't blow your socks off. It's not a masterpiece. That's not what these movies are for. But I'm giving it 3 popcorns. It's just not quite there. It's got a lot of great pieces in there. Not all the jokes are going to hit, but that's just kind of the territory you roll with a comedy like this one. But I'm giving it 3 popcorns. Now, that's not bad. That's actually pretty good for a scary movie, especially a parody movie. But I'm giving it 3 popcorns on the popcorn rating. All right, let's take a quick break, and then we'll head into our next universe, Toy Story 5. This episode is brought to you by Dubby Energy. Still drinking energy that quits before you do? Stop crashing, stop shaking, and start performing. Meet Dubby Energy, clean energy made for gamers, creators, and anyone who refuses to slow down. With 0 sugar, no jitters, and no crash, Dubby keeps you locked in whether you're grinding ranked, streaming for hours, or pushing through those late nights. There's no crash, no fade, just gas. Drink different, perform better. Grab Dubby Energy and use code Cinematic10 to get 10% off your order today.
Woody?
Came here as fast as I could after Jesse called for help.
Oh, thank you!
We've got it handled. Look, Star, Deputy, me, no Star.
Oh, hey, Buzz, what is that?
What? Where?
Ow.
Hey,
I'm gonna let this device know how things are run around here.
try to stay calm, Jesse.
I'm the definition of calm.
That's not gonna work.
I want to talk to you, device.
Not touching, Jessica.
Oh, no.
She used the J word.
Scandal.
Hi! Oh, come on!
Just getting away, Buzz.
Enjoy the garage, Stuffalo Bill.
Stuffalo Bill.
First we were playing, and then the world started changing. No. Oh, are we getting donated?
Donut.
No, sweetie. Donated.
Bonnie doesn't want to play with toys anymore. She needs me.
Jesse, you know Bonnie better than anyone. What does your gut say?
Bonnie still needs us. Our time ain't over yet.
We're gonna need backup.
Affirmative, Commander.
No way.
Come on, Bullseye.
Hey, wait for us!
You got a friend in
Clear!
Disney and Pixar's Toy Story 5.
Well, we're back, and we're jumping into the Toy Story franchise with Toy Story 5, which just came out a couple days ago on June 19th, 2026. I finally saw it yesterday. That's why this episode's coming out just a tad bit later than what I wanted to. It's been a crazy schedule, and I was able to watch Toy Story 5 with my family yesterday. It was a blast. We had a lot of fun reminiscing on the old Toy Story movies that we grew up watching. And this is such a fun franchise to dive into. Even though I wasn't the biggest fan of Toy Story 4, I still love revisiting this franchise every now and then because this is part of my childhood. This is probably the one Pixar movie or Pixar franchise that I leaned to the most as a kid, especially the Buzz Lightyear character was my favorite. My brother was a Woody fan, so plus with us and close age, we really bonded over this movie, and it was a lot of fun. So revisiting this franchise was a lot of fun, especially with my youngest sister who is only 14. She's only grew up with these new iterations of Toy Story. She hasn't really been exposed to the older versions. But this one is kind of for her generation, whereas the first one or two were kind of aimed towards my generation. But at the end of the day, it's for everybody. There's a little bit of everything in here. They mention about Woody and Buzz being the old toys. Woody's got a gut, he's got a bald spot. Just kind of reminding people like me, we're in our 30s and we're getting old. And now this new generation of toys are coming in, like Lily Pad and all these electronic toys are taking over. So it was a really big kind of like wake up call for me. Is like, holy crap, I'm getting old. But at the same time, we can all still have fun. So, but this was a blast. Like I said, I had a lot of fun with it. Don't really have box office numbers yet since it just came out. I think last I saw, just US and Canada was like 71 million already made at the box office. I think worldwide was like 120 million or something like that. I haven't been able to find a budget yet, but I got to imagine with all the animation and things like that, it's got a decent sized budget from Disney, but so far it seems to be pretty strong at the box office numbers. Reviews are kind of mixed, that's naturally going to happen with a franchise like this. But for the most part, I think a lot of the reviews are pretty positive. I'm going to be pretty positive on this movie. I enjoyed it much more than I thought I would. It's not the best Toy Story movie. Obviously, that still is Toy Story 3 to me, and we'll talk about that more in the rankings. But I did surprisingly enjoy this a lot more than I thought. I had like no expectations going into this because I was kind of just really still bummed out on Toy Story 4. But this one surprised me. I really genuinely like this one. So we're going to run through a brief synopsis here. So if you haven't seen this movie yet, I'm going to try not to spoil anything in it, but just kind of give you a general description of the story. So Jessie is kind of running the show here. She is sheriff. She's the main character of this Toy Story. And she's on a mission to find Bonnie, a friend. Bonnie, if you remember, we were introduced to her in Toy Story 3. She's the little girl that Andy gave all the toys to, as kind of like passing on the torch. And then Scary Movie, Toy Story 4 was a continuation of Bonnie with the toys. And then now we're at this point of she's getting Lily Pad, which is a new tablet toy. So we're kind of in that age realm where she's going to start leaning towards tech. But Jessie's on this mission to find her an actual human being friend, and that they can bond over these old toys instead of talking to each other through a chat, like a lot of kids do nowadays with the texting, with the Facebooking, the TikToks, the Instagrams, things like that. So this is a really big, like, let's get back to the old ways where we meet people through interactions, through physical act of play, and rather than like getting a tablet or a phone and joining some social media site to text each other and just do it that way. Jessie is on a mission to get her a actual friend. There's a lot of bumps in the road, of course, a lot of emotions going hayward with, Bonnie has that really, it's such a heartbreaking scene, but it's what kids deal with all the time. It's when she goes up to her parents and she goes, why doesn't anybody want to be my friend? And when that scene happened, that's when I knew that, okay, this is going to be a different Toy Story than we've ever had before. This is going to be better than Toy Story 4, the route that they're going with this new storyline. And I really liked it. I really liked the, let's have this real world topic of kids on screens too much and not playing with other kids physically outside or with toys or things like that. It's a real world thing that we are dealing with now with kids, and I really, really liked it. It was a really good storyline to do in here. Looking at the cast, a lot of familiar faces here. Tom Hanks returns as Woody, Tim Allen returning as Buzz Lightyear. They get top billing, but like I said, Jessie is actually the star of the show. She voiced again by Joan Cusack, who is fantastic as Jessie. I love the emotion and the energy that she puts into it. Same thing with Tom Hanks and Tim Allen. They don't really miss a beat. They still put that same love and care into these characters, but they've kind of stepped aside, and Jessie is now at the forefront of the Toy Story franchise. Smarty Pants, played by Conan O'Brien, who was a surprise hit for me. I really got a kick out of the Smarty Pants. That was that toy that helped potty train kids. It looked like a toilet paper roll. That was pretty fun. So Conan O'Brien voices him. Bonnie, Scarlett Spears voices Bonnie. She's had a different couple of voice actresses, but Scarlett Spears is the current one. Greta Lee plays Lilypad, who did a really good job. Blaze, played by Michelle Harris. Blaze was a really fun character introduced to the franchise. She's one of the kids that Bonnie tries to be friends with. Forky, voiced by Tony Hale. Rex, Wallace Shawn. Mr. Potato Head, Jeff Bergman, who replaced, who played Potato Head previously. Let me look this up here. Because he replaced Don Rickles. That's who it was. Don Rickles previously voiced Mr. Potato Head. Jeff Bergman is now voicing him. Anna Vocino. Wow, I really suck at these last names. Mrs. Potato Head. Slinky Dog, voiced by Blake Clark. Bo Peep, and Annie Potts. Ham, voiced by John Ratzenberger. And Duke Kaboom, voiced again by Keanu Reeves, who we were introduced to in Toy Story 4. He has only like 2 scenes I think he's in, but it was great to see Keanu Reeves return to a franchise that he seemed to have fun with. So post Toy Story 3 vibes, I just wanted to touch up on this before we dive into all the categories. Like I said, Toy Story 4 was a big bummer for me. Was not into it, wasn't impressed with it when it came out. To me, for the longest time, I felt Toy Story should have just ended after Toy Story 3. It had a really good ending, really heartfelt ending where Andy was passing the toys on to Bonnie as the new kid, or the new Andy, quote unquote. So for the longest time, I was like, I don't really recognize Toy Story 4. To me, it should have ended after Toy Story 3. But after watching 5, there's a little bit of hope for the Toy Story franchise, I think. This Toy Story 5 steers the franchise into a better direction than what 4 was doing. But I'm curious to see how I feel going back and watching 4 after watching 5, if it changes anything for me now that I know what's going to happen with Bonnie and the toys in the future. But the directors also stated that Toy Story 6 is a real possibility and that this could be the end of the Bonnie trilogy. So maybe we have another Andy situation where she hands the toys off to somebody else and just this endless cycle of just handing these toys off. But eventually I gotta imagine Toy Story is gonna end at some point. But it's the vibes are looking better now for me after seeing Toy Story 5. I'm back into Toy Story. I had a really fun time with it. Again, it's not on the level of the first 3, but it's much better than 4. So vibes are good. Vibes are good for the Toy Story franchise, and I'm curious to see what they do with the 6th one. If that truly is the end of the Bonnie trilogy, that's going to be really cool to see what they do with her. Potential iconic scenes of Toy Story 5. So these are scenes that will be iconic in the future since this is a new release when you hear the title Toy Story 5. So 3 nominees here. Woody returning to Bonnie's. Really fun scene where he's got the poncho on and everyone's making fun of him by wearing a dress. He got the bald spot. Everyone's mentioning his pudginess and his belly like a dad bod. It's a really fun scene and great to see Woody and Buzz interacting again after all these years. Lily upgrading the Buzz Army. So we get this side story of the Buzz Army, which there's a fun fact later on about that storyline specifically, but that was a fun way to add more Buzz Lightyear to the story, since Buzz kind of took a backseat to Jesse. But the Buzz Army is really cool. They're these newer high-tech versions of Buzz. They have Bluetooth. They have new helicopter wing styles. It's really, really cool. But that scene where Lily kind of goes through her journey as kind of the villain of the story, and then realizes that she actually hurt Bonnie instead of helping her, and she upgrades the Buzz Army to get him out of this situation, and it was really, really cool to see. So that's a really awesome scene. And then, spoiler alert, Jesse kisses Buzz. Huge moment. They've been teasing this since Toy Story 3, and they finally did it here, where Buzz wants to propose to Jesse, marry Jesse in the next, playtime. But then Jesse ends up kissing Buzz because he was dragging his feet for so long. And it was a really good moment. These are two characters that everyone's been kind of rooting and expecting for them to be together at some point in this franchise. So it's cool that they finally made it official with Jesse kissing Buzz. The iconic scene for me is probably going to be Jesse kissing Buzz, just because we've been waiting for that for so long, and that's just going to be stuck into everybody's brain when they hear Toy Story 5. They're gonna see that scene of them being held by the high-tech Buzzes and flying to each other and kissing before the bus comes crashing into them. So that is the potential iconic scene for me. Favorite quotes. A couple here from Buzz Lightyear. Our mission on this planet is to make a child happy. And then, it's been too long, cowboy. Trixie, someone needs a brown marker. That's her response to Woody when he takes off his hat and they have that bald spot with the sun shining on it and blinding everybody. And then Mr. Potato Head, it's good to see them fighting again, referring to Buzz and Woody, of course. Couple fun facts here, and then we'll dive into the rankings for Toy Story next. The first main film in the Toy Story franchise to be PG by the Motion Picture Association, unlike the first 4 films, which were originally rated G, making it one of the only 2 Pixar Animation Studio sequels not to be designated the same MPA as their predecessors. The other, of course, being Finding Dory. That one was PG as well. Jesse's pull string phrases are heard for the first time in this film. That was really cool. The lily pad device is a spoof of the real-world device called a leapfrog. I wonder if any of you guys out there had one. I didn't have one personally, but I do remember seeing leapfrog on the shelves. And then the subplot of malfunctioning Buzz Lightyear figures is lifted straight from the original script for Toy Story 3. So the Buzz Lightyear army of high-tech toys was actually in the script for Toy Story 3, but they ended up cutting it out of there, and then they transplanted it into this film. All right, let's head to the rankings. So we're going to pull up the Toy Story universe rankings on the website here. Number 6, Lightyear. Yes, I did include Lightyear because it is kind of in the realm of Toy Story. It's not directly tied to the Toy Story main storyline, but it is in the universe, so we're going to loop it in there. It is at the bottom, though, because it was pretty bad. Number 5, Toy Story 4. Like I said, just didn't really care for it. Bad vibes coming out of it. Really low on the franchise after that. But Toy Story 5 comes in at number 4, which has lifted my spirits a little bit with the Toy Story franchise. Number 3, the first Toy Story movie. It's iconic, but it's not the best. Number 2, Toy Story 2. That one I really enjoyed with introducing Jesse and Bullseye and that whole plot with... what was his name? The frickin' miner dude. He was the villain in there. Prospector, Kelsey Grammer. Yeah, with the Prospector, that was a really good villain in the second one. And then number 1 is Toy Story 3 with Lotso and going to daycare. That one I think is the best one. You have that very emotional ending where the toys are about to get incinerated, and you really do think that this is the end of it, but they end up coming out of it getting saved by the little aliens. But Toy Story 3 is number 1. So that is the rankings for the Toy Story franchise. Toy Story 3, Toy Story 2, Toy Story 1, Toy Story 5, Toy Story 4, and then Lightyear at the bottom. Next up, we have Best in Show. This was a tough one, too. But our nominees are Joan Cusack as Jessie, Greta Lee as Lily Pad, and Conan O'Brien as Smarty Pants. I really like Smarty Pants. Lily Pad was a great villain, especially her character arc where she realizes that tech is not the way to get Bonnie friends. She ends up helping the toys get her an actual friend. So that was a really good character arc for her. But the winner is Joan Cusack as Jessie. Jessie stole the show. This is her movie. She did a fantastic job as sheriff. Just a lot of emotion behind it. We get some more backstory behind her with her first owner, Emily, who ends up getting revealed that her daughter was named after Jessie. It was a really, really good story arc for her. So Jessie is the winner for Best in Show for Toy Story 5. Then the popcorn rating for Toy Story 5. I went with 4 popcorns, which is actually it's good. This is a great movie. Couldn't quite get to 5 with this one. I thought about it, but I just couldn't quite get to that next step. But I am giving it 4 popcorns. This is a great movie. It's a great Toy Story movie. It's sucked me back into the franchise. I'm curious to see what they do for Toy Story 6 and beyond. I really enjoyed this. It's a really, really fun time to watch with my family, with a room full of other kids and adults that have grown up with this story. It was a fun experience with the music, the characters, the action, the mischief that they all get into. It felt like a real Toy Story movie. And it's just a great time. So go ahead and check out Toy Story 5 in theaters right now, and get back into this franchise because it's a really good franchise. I love it. So Toy Story 5 for popcorns. Let's wrap up our journey and let's head to the Masters of the Universe.
Adam, when you hold the magic sword, what do you say?
By the power of Greyskull.
Go on. Now you're ready.
It seems the prodigal prince has returned. I am a devil, but I mean to be a god.
What am I supposed to do?
You are he who will restore peace to Eternia.
Skeletor took my family, and he destroyed our world. I'm gonna fight for it. He's coming! Mechanic. And Ramman.
Hell yeah!
And you, Fisto! Mr. Allen! It's Adam, dude.
Hey, put your neck away. Let me show you what real power looks like.
Our time for talk is over.
By the power of Greyskull, we're finally talking about Masters of the Universe. This was a surprise hit for me. I didn't really grow up with the cartoon, grow up with the franchise at all. I knew of it. I've seen clips of the old cartoon and the Dolph Lundgren movie. But it's just a universe I never really was drawn to until now. This movie came out on June 5th, 2026, same weekend as Scary Movie 6. This one blew me away. I really, really enjoyed it. It's really an awesome universe to dive into. I kind of makes me want to go back and discover the cartoons and the Dolph Lundgren movie, which I hear isn't great. But this makes me want to get more familiar with the He-Man story and the Skeletor backstory and all that stuff. But this movie was really, really fun. It's kind of bringing the superhero genre back with it not being Marvel or DC. You know, those are kind of the top dogs right now in the superhero business. But this one kind of reminds everybody that, hey, you don't need Marvel or DC slapped on the title of this movie. We can still have a fun action superhero movie that's in a different world. And that's what they did here with Masters of the Universe. It's really fun. I really enjoyed it. The action, the characters that we get to know, the Adam character specifically as he travels from home. He gets sent to Earth, kind of in the same realm as Superman. Funny enough, he gets sent to Earth to be protected. He must find the sword, the power sword, to come back and reclaim the throne as king, essentially, and become He-Man. Really great. Nicholas Galadzine, I think is how you say his name. Not really familiar with him. He's kind of new to the Hollywood sphere. He was in a few movies. I think he's in one movie that I've seen, The Idea of You, where he stars alongside Anne Hathaway as kind of like a romantic story. But he was great as Adam. I really like his Adam. Camila Mendes, who I've recognized from Riverdale, she plays Tila. Idris Elba plays Duncan. Love Idris Elba. Jared Leto plays Skeletor, which if you've watched the show, you know that I'm not a big fan of Jared Leto. But I was surprised with Leto's performance in here. I think this might be my favorite of his. Surprisingly enough, he's great in here. I like him as the villain. He's quirky, he's weird, he's awkward, but he's evil at the end of the day. And I love the fact that they went with just, let's not make him a compelling villain. Let's not give him a story that makes you think, oh, am I supposed to root for him? No, let's just make him straight up evil because he wants to rule the universe. Like, let's get back to the basics here with our villain. Let's just make him a bad guy because he just wants to have power and rule the universe. And Jared Leto did a great job. I like the look of him. I like the jokiness of him, but I like the seriousness of him as well. Jared Leto surprised me a lot in this movie. He was really good as Skeletor. Who else do we have in the cast here? Evelyn, played by Alison Brie, and then the Sorceress, played by Marina Baccarin, who you probably recognize her as Deadpool's girlfriend in the Deadpool movies. There's a lot of other side characters like Fisto and Ram Man and Mechaneck, things like that, but these are your main cast here in the story, and they all did a really good job. I like the cast in here. I like the performances. I like the costumes. It was a really, really fun time. Which leads me to my next point. Houston, we have a franchise, but it sounds like it might be crash landing. So they're already labeling Masters of the Universe as a flop, which really surprises me. Let me look at the box office numbers here real quick. Because when I heard that this was going to get marked a flop, I'm like, no way. And sure as shit it is. So, $170 million budget, quite hefty. So far, worldwide, it's only grossed $92 million at the box office. That baffles me because I walked out of this movie like, holy crap. We might have a franchise on our hands, guys. And Houston, we may have a problem. It's flopping hard. And the one I compare it to is Power Rangers. So, in 2017, when I walked out of the theater watching Power Rangers, I was like, holy crap, we might have a Power Rangers franchise here. And then I hear it flopped. Like, I wonder what the box office numbers for Power Rangers was. Well, eventually we're going to talk about Power Rangers. We're going to do a Power Rangers event on the show. But I'm curious right now let's compare those numbers with Masters of the Universe here. So this one had a budget of $100 million, so a little less than Masters of the Universe. And then this one grossed $142 million worldwide. So it only made, according to these numbers, about $40 million, $42 million. Masters of the Universe might flop harder than Power Rangers. And everybody, and the critics torched the Power Rangers movies. And people just didn't like it. I loved the Power Rangers movies. I wish we would have gotten a franchise out of that version of the Power Rangers because I really liked it. Same thing with Masters of the Universe. I really like this Masters of the Universe movie. I wish we get a franchise out of it. But like I said, Houston, we might have a problem because they've already marked it a flop only a few weeks after it's come out. So it's really unfortunate that a lot of these movies that audience seems to love aren't getting franchises because it's not making enough money. And that's where podcasts like mine here that get the word out. You know, Masters of the Universe is really good. I think this is going to be getting a digital resurgence. That's kind of how Power Rangers went too. When Power Rangers came out on DVD, went out on digital, everyone's like, oh, we might have been too harsh on this movie. Like, I think we fucked up. We need a franchise around this Power Rangers movie. And I think that's going to be the same thing with Masters of the Universe. Once it gets out on digital, once it gets out in the streaming world, I think everyone's going to realize, like, holy crap, this is really good. I hope we get a franchise out of this. Because it's still, theaters are back, but people are still sucked into the streaming world that they're like, well, it's going to end up on streaming anyways, or I'll just buy it at home because I spent so much money on my home theater that they're just going to do it that way instead of going to the theater and spending $50 to $100 for one day, for one viewing. Which I totally understand, you know, financial reasons wise, do whatever best for you, but we need to get butts in the seats for movies like Masters of the Universe, for movies like Power Rangers, because that is what these franchises are dependent on, is money. Ticket sales, concession sales, money. It needs money to warrant more. So we need to start spreading the word out on Masters of the Universe, start spreading the word out on things like Power Rangers. Otherwise, it's just gonna miss potential of an awesome franchise. But that was a big thing coming out of it that I noticed doing the research for today's episode, that when Power Rangers in 2017 came out, this is getting the same vibes as Masters of the Universe, where there's this large group of people like, holy crap, this is an awesome movie. But then the box numbers come out and it's like, no, it's going to flop and they're not going to make another one because the studio didn't make enough money. It's just really unfortunate, but that's the way of the business, unfortunately. All right, potential iconic scenes for Masters of the Universe. First one, Adam finally having the power. You get that really cool scene where he gets the sword and he goes, by the power of Greyskull, I have the power. And it's a really cool, I love how they set up this scene here with Adam kind of getting his butt kicked, finally summoning the strength to wield the power sword and become He-Man. The way that he's changed his suit, you know, he gets that iconic suit, changes his hair, he's all buffed up, and it was a really, really cool scene. Skeletor versus He-Man in the first fight. You know, this is where Adam is still kind of getting the hang of all these powers, and Skeletor's whipping his ass. But it was a really awesome fight scene. And then the next scene is He-Man versus Skeletor, the final fight, where Skeletor tries to destroy the power sword, but Adam is able to overcome it, rebuild the sword, and becomes He-Man once more and defeats Skeletor. I think the most iconic scene is going to be Adam turning into He-Man for the first time. The bright light, the special effects that went into changing him from Adam to He-Man were so well done. The music, Nicholas saying the words by the power of Greyskull, I have the power, just echoes into eternity. It was a really awesome scene, so I think that one is going to be the most iconic. Favorite quotes. This one from Adam, by the power of Greyskull, I have the power. Obviously, one of the most famous lines from the universe. Skeletor, oh balls. I never really thought I'd see the day when Jared Leto plays Skeletor and says, oh balls. A couple of quotes here from Fisto. Let's fist some bad guys and then give them head, Ram Man, where it's just really didn't think about the names. So a little bit of backstory of that. If you haven't seen the movie yet, Adam, when he's on Earth, he believes that this world exists, but everybody around him on Earth thinks he's making it up, thinks these are just dreams of his. So he's named them all because he doesn't remember their actual names. So the guy with the mechanical fist is Fisto, obviously. Ram Man, because he rams into people. You have Mecha Neck, because his neck is mechanical and it's able to kind of move around like Mr. Fantastic or Plastic Man. It's really funny and then they start using those names for each other, and it's hilarious. And then Duncan, when you fall, that's your chance to stand tall. Life advice, really, from Idris Elba. Fun facts. Originally, the filmmakers thought to give Skeletor a golden skull mask. Travis Knight, who directed the film, vetoed that in favor of Skeletor having a skull head. I think it was the best option there. I think the gold would have been too much. Jared Leto was completely left out of the marketing. His name wasn't shown in trailers and TV spots. He didn't join his co-stars for the press tour, and the movie's official social media accounts didn't even mention him when they posted clips of his performance as Skeletor. When they came out, Jared Leto was playing Skeletor, it threw everybody off because they didn't publicize it. He had an accent, so you wouldn't have known it right away, but Jared Leto did play him, and he did a good job. Jared Leto made an effort to make Skeletor sound like someone who is speaking without the use of their lips, which is why he has a weird accent. And then Jared Leto covered his face in blood during filming to make his performance as scary as possible. Why, Leto? Why? Why would you do that? This is shit like this is the reason why I'm not a Jared Leto fan. He covers his face in blood to make his performance scary as possible. You're wearing a skull mask. Like, how? I don't understand. Like I said, shit like that. When I hear that, that's why I put my head in my hands. I'm just like, why, Jared? Why are you doing shit like that? Why are you being weird? Like, you have talent as an actor. Quit being weird on set. It's just, I get everybody has a process, but that's just fucking weird, man. Just why? Anyways, let's get to the ranking. Only 2 sections here because we really don't have a franchise to rank. I guess I could compare it to the cartoon or the Dolph Lundgren movie, but to be honest, I haven't seen them, so I can't fairly rank them. Maybe eventually when I do watch those, I can rank this universe. But for now, we're going to do Best in Show and the popcorn rating for Master of the Universe. Best in Show. Jared Leto as Skeletor. Nicholas Galitzine as Adam, a.k.a. He-Man. And Idris Elba as Duncan. Or Sergeant in Arms or whatever his name is. But I'm just going to call him Duncan. Winner. Surprisingly, Jared Leto as Skeletor. I think he stole the show. His villain in this movie is really good. The costuming, the CGI that went into moving his skull mouth as Jared Leto speaks, the staff, the powers that he wields during the fights against He-Man, his weird speeches are odd, but they're entertaining. The fact that he says "oh balls," I mean, it's Jared Leto. It was a close call between him and Nicholas as He-Man, but I ultimately went with Jared Leto. He's the one that I walked out of the movie and went, wow, Jared Leto really surprised me. He stole the show for me. But I'm curious to see what you guys think. So write in the comments below who's your best in show for Toy Story, for Scary Movie, for Master of the Universe. Where's your ranking on the universes? Where's your popcorn rating? I'm curious what you guys see. So head into the comments below with your guys's. And then the popcorn rating for Master of the Universe is 5 popcorns. Like I said, this movie surprised me. I walked out of this movie and was like, holy crap. That was an awesome movie. I had a fun time watching this. I want more. So I went with 5 popcorns. The music, the action, the costumes, the characters, the performances, the story. I really like this movie. It's a surprise hit for me this year. It's definitely maybe one of the best action movies of the year. We'll see when it comes with award season. But I'm giving it 5 popcorns. I was really, really impressed with this movie. So go check out Masters of the Universe. Let's make it not a flop, guys. It's really good. Well, that's gonna do it for our triple feature. Scary Story of the Universe. I had a lot of fun. Maybe we'll do another triple feature. We'll have a double feature coming up with Top Gun for the 4th of July in celebration of 250 years of the USA, baby. So that'll be a double feature, and I'll find opportunities to do a triple feature. We'll do a Avengers Doomsday Dune 3 probably double feature in December. But yeah, this is a lot of fun. Universe hopping with you guys. Check out all these movies. Let's support them. I had a really fun time. Looking ahead, we've got more Marvel episodes coming out. We'll do Moon Knight. We're going to dive into the Spider-Man franchise to get ready for Spider-Man Brand New Day. So we'll tackle Tobey Maguire's movies, and then we'll tackle Andrew Garfield's movies. We have more new releases coming out, like Supergirl, like The Odyssey. We'll do some other smaller reactions on episodes of Jackass, Best and Last, Minions and Monsters, Moana. A lot of blockbusters coming out. So check out all the content on Cinematic Reviews. Just released the Spider-Man No Way Home episode the other day. That's the current Marvel episode on our marathon for Avengers Doomsday, which is coming up. We're only 6 months away. And we're only about a month away from Spider-Man Brand New Day. It's a great time for movies. It's a great time for theaters. Go out there, support the theaters. Go check out all these movies. And have a great weekend, everybody. Happy Father's Day to all the dads out there. We'll see you all next time on the show.